Welcome to Focus on Why. I'm Amy Rowlinson, your host. Join me to explore the compelling stories, profound insights, and captivating experiences shared by my guests from all over the world. Focusing on the importance of why, these relatable, uplifting, and inspiring conversations will empower, motivate, and guide you to create your own purposeful way of life. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why. Before we dive in, let me share how I can transform your journey as a purpose coach. I specialize in helping you get crystal clear on your why, aligning your passion with your purpose, and crafting a plan to create the life you truly desire. Book a free 30-minute coaching call today. The link is in the show notes. Let's start building your purposeful future together. Hello and welcome to my 70th solo Reflections with Actions episode. And I have to say, it's been a most interesting chapter of my life since I last released my solo episode on the 21st of October. I've recorded several fabulous podcast episodes all ready for release in early 2025 for Focus on Why, but I've also featured as a guest on other shows with Andy Lapata, Kim Adele Randall and Susan Heaton-Wright. It really is a very different dynamic being on the receiving end of questions in a conversation. I guess the most significant thing to have happened to me since our last episode was that I launched my book, although it didn't go as I had meticulously planned it. I faced many issues with both Amazon and Audible, which have now subsequently been resolved, but not without much frustration and a lot of wasted energy and time from both my publisher and myself in attempting to resolve the issues. Anyway, I'm so pleased to say that all the issues now remain firmly in the past, and my book is available in paperback, digital ebook, and audiobook formats. It was indeed a very good lesson in focusing on what you can control and letting go of what I could not. The actual in-person book launch was also one that I'd been meticulously planning for over a year, and fortunately it exceeded all my expectations. I'd known that this was going to be the date, the 29th of October, for a very long time. It was always going to be that day. And yet I only decided the day beforehand what I would say in forms of a speech. I prepared a full script, but at last minute I felt and trusted that I would simply turn up and speak from the heart instead, which is what I did. And as a result, I received a standing ovation, which I did not expect at all. Launching a book isn't something you experience every day, so I knew that the evening would be memorable. However, I couldn't have imagined just how extraordinary and truly magical an experience it would turn out to be. The launch venue and date, the Victory Services Club and the 29th of October, were intentionally chosen with purposeful, personal significance. Focus on Why is a book that I co-authored with my late maternal grandfather because I incorporated his World War II prisoner of war commonplace scrapbook entries within it. And the 29th of October was not only the 28th year anniversary of his passing, but the event was held in the El Alamein room. Now this meant that I would also be able to honour my paternal grandfather, as he was the commanding officer of the 5th Tank Regiment at El Alamein. So this date also marked the 82nd anniversary of that pivotal battle. In fact, it was day 7. The talk I delivered was inspired by Winston Churchill's words etched into stone in the Victory Services Club reception. Common treasures, memories of friendship and brave deeds. And it serves as a reminder of what's possible when you truly focus on why. Each component being critical to living a life of intention and purpose, as together they form the elements that shape who you are and which connect you to others and create a sense of fulfilment and belonging. Common treasures are the invaluable yet often overlooked elements of life that bring you meaning, connection, and joy. These treasures are not material wealth or rare possessions. Instead, they encompass things like shared memories, genuine friendships, acts of kindness, family traditions, or moments of beauty in nature. They are life's simple yet profound gifts, found in the shared experiences, relationships, and personal values that enrich our lives beyond measure. Writing this book has felt like destiny, as it's been a journey with countless nudges from the universe guiding me forward. Sharing that journey with everyone in the room was a profound experience, and I've received overwhelming feedback on how it has inspired people to take reflection with action. Although I know this is only the beginning, already for me, that feels like mission accomplished in some way. And it is so encouraging to know that the talk resonated with so many people at a deep level. If you are in any way curious to watch and hear what I shared in the room, there's a video link in the show notes which will take you to my YouTube channel and you can watch it in full there. The evening really did instigate a lot of action, and the next day I woke up to seeing 21 posts on LinkedIn where people had felt compelled to share their insights from the evening. I was also bowled over watching the wonderful video testimonials that had been collected on the night. I have to say, I think I've been on cloud nine ever since. It has really been so incredible, and I'm still floating from that positive energy that was shared that night. Still on cloud nine, 2 days later, I had the privilege of spending a 12-hour voluntary shift at London Bridge Station as an official poppy seller for London Poppy Day. What a privilege that was to raise funds for the Royal British Legion alongside current and veteran armed forces members. I've already put next year's date in the calendar, as it was a wonderfully fulfilling day, which can be best described as one which completely meets the criteria of common treasures, memories of friendship, and brave deeds. On the 5th of November, I created my own fireworks in the form of speaking at the South East region of the Professional Speaking Association. And again, I ditched the prepared talk that I had to instead meet the needs of those in the room. Switching from a keynote to a 45-minute Q&A instead, I asked what it was people really needed the answers to in relation to the topic of purpose, and then spent the whole session helping them to answer those. It went down really well. What else have I been up to? Oh, I had a brilliant photo shoot to get a fresh set of photographs which actually look like I do right now, because the ones I'd had done back in 2020, although they were lovely, I've lost a significant bit of weight since then, and I wanted to reflect that with the new set. So what now? Well, on Saturday the 30th of November, I turn 50, and it really feels like a wake-up call, but in the best possible way. It's not just another birthday, it's a start of a whole new decade. And over the last year, I've really prioritised my health, fitness and mental well-being. I've been sober now for 441 days, lost 20 kilograms, ran 40 park runs, and I've focused on a much more plant-based diet. I eat homemade sourdough bread, thanks to my husband John, and I've pretty much cut out processed food. This last year, I've created for myself the space to stop, reflect, and ask myself big questions, to challenge the status quo and to work out what it is that I really want. Who do I want to become? What really matters to me now? What am I chasing and why? And how do I want to show up in this next phase of my life? Reaching this milestone of 50, I feel I've finally earned the right to let go of all the extraneous noise. I don't feel I have to prove anything to anyone anymore. And it's so liberating after spending the first 50 years of my life focused on building and growing careers, families, identities. But now it feels like while I'm still growing and building, I'm now refining. I'm choosing to focus on the things that bring me joy, the people who matter most, and the ways that I can leave a positive mark. I advocate for a transformative shift in how, as a society, we define, pursue, and measure success. Shining a light on what is possible when you focus on why, I believe we can collectively shift the dial on global fulfilment to pave a way for a better future for humanity. Legacy's been on my mind a lot lately, particularly while writing my book. Not in a morbid way, but as a guide to help me navigate my way forward. How do I want to be remembered? What values am I passing on? I realise more and more that legacy isn't about grand gestures. It's in the small, meaningful ways I show up for others when I stay true to myself. This is how I get to experience my own living legacy in action every day. So this chapter of life really feels like a gift, a chance to be more intentional, more purposeful. I'm spending my time doing what I love, nurturing relationships and exploring new adventures. Turning 50 isn't about slowing down though. If anything, it's accelerated my focus on the things that matter most to me in creating a purposeful way of life that feels fulfilling every single day. It feels like just the beginning, a true midlife beginning, and one I'm proud to embrace wholeheartedly. As I'm headed away to spend my actual birthday with my family who live across the pond, I've been celebrating my birthday a bit early with some other friends. Those that I made 20 years ago when the kids started school. Some I made over 40 years ago when I was still at junior school. And some I've made in the last 4 years. So yes, there has been much to celebrate in the last month. And the celebrations continue. And these have been my reflections with actions. However, for the next 20 minutes or so, let's switch the focus over to the last 5 guests who I've featured on the podcast. So first up is episode 430, Create Meaningful Moments with... that's not going to work, is it? That was with someone called Amy Rowlinson. Yeah, okay. The focus is back on me again. But what I'll do is I'll just share what I focused in on that episode instead. That means I can focus on all the people in the world who right now are feeling unfulfilled. And that's a staggering 77% of the global workplace. So if it's not you, who I'm speaking to right now, who's unfulfilled, it's very likely to be your friend, a peer, a loved one who falls into that statistic. Delving deep into the existential crisis, which is currently plaguing the global workforce, this pervasive lack of purpose and engagement, I'm drawing attention to the impact that will occur as a result of 77% of the global workforce being disengaged. Not only is this a monumental productivity cost of $8.9 trillion US dollars, or 9% of the global GDP, according to Gallup CEO John Clifton, this is the difference between success and failure for humanity. And with such dire consequences, I underscore the critical need for a shift in how employees find and connect with their purpose and meaning and fulfillment. I argue passionately against the simplistic solution of this issue being resolved through better management, suggesting instead a paradigm shift towards personal responsibility. By taking ownership of one's own engagement and well-being, you can create more fulfilling and purposeful life. This isn't just about workplace productivity, it's about holistic life satisfaction. And this concept is central to my philosophy of my newly released book, Focus on Why, Create a Purposeful Way of Life. It offers a 9-step framework for initiating meaningful change through reflection with action. In episode 430, I share deeply personal anecdotes, including the inspiration I gleaned from my grandfather's writings, to illustrate how purpose and meaning can be encouraged from within to create a more engaged, satisfied, and impactful life. The work I do with one-to-one coaching clients and within businesses focuses on this shift to taking responsibility and understanding how to incorporate reflection with action into every moment. It's simple, yet so impactful. And if you're asking the questions, why am I here? What is my purpose? What is my why? If you're feeling unfulfilled and you need help to navigate a way forward to creating a life which focuses on meaningful and fulfilling work, then please do reach out via the Calendly link in the show notes. Book yourself in for a free call and we can have a conversation as to how we can achieve a purposeful way of life for you. Next up is episode 431, Style with Purpose with Kay Korsh. Have you ever wondered how your appearance shapes your success? With over 20 years of expertise, Kay has mastered the science of appearance, evolving from dressing celebrities to styling professional speakers. She explores the psychology of colour, the importance of authenticity, and the transformative power of fashion on confidence, credibility, and connection. She offers practical tips on aligning your style with your goals, sharing success stories of clients who have made a lasting impact through powerful wardrobe choices. To connect with your audience and deliver a message that truly resonates, start by focusing on your style with purpose. In our conversation, Kay said that her focus was on how people look, and she said that might sound shallow. However, I reassured her it wasn't shallow at all, and I know she knows this already. I recalled a story of a professor that I'd heard speak about how important it was to make your children look as attractive as possible when they start school, because it helps them make friends. I don't recall his exact phrasing because it was in the early 2000s. It was a program called Child of Our Time, and the professor speaking was Lord Winston, Professor of Science and Society and Emeritus Professor of Fertility Studies at Imperial College London. But the principle behind what he was saying still remains etched in my memory, that no matter what people say to the contrary, those first impressions count and make all the difference. You make snap decisions and assumptions based on what you see in front of you, and this could be contributed from many factors: your values, your beliefs, your experiences, your upbringing. These assumptions, though, may be wrong. But all the same, you make them, and then the other person then has to prove them either way to you. And they're not even aware that this is occurring. This all happens in a matter of seconds. It's simply based on what they're wearing that you've made this decision, and how they hold themselves and how they present themselves. And they might not have even had the chance to speak to you yet. Before I met Kay, I didn't really spend that much time thinking about what I wore and how I presented myself. Yes, of course, I knew it was important to look professional and be well presented, especially in work situations when I'm coaching or speaking, to wear the right colours even to enhance that connection. But I didn't really spend much more time than that in ensuring I was on trend with the current fashion, or to think how my curly hair could be styled differently, or how wearing the same clothes could look so different with just a couple of minor alterations. However, never have I been more delighted to have been proved wrong, as Kay has helped me to appreciate that if I want to be taken seriously in what I have to say about purpose, which I very much do, then what I wear and how I present myself will make all the difference. If I want to be seen as someone who is at top of the game, who is progressive, is current, and has thoughts around this topic that will make a huge difference, how I present myself has to be congruent with this messaging. So not only did I take on board everything that Kay shared in her episode on the podcast, but my reflection with action was to join her style program for professional speakers. And if you've been deliberating on whether it's worth the investment of your time, money, and effort to join Kay's program, or simply to look at how you present yourself, then let me reassure you on 3 points. Firstly, very small amount of time is required. Maybe an hour or two a week maximum to go through your wardrobe, watch Kay's bite-sized videos on different elements of style and clothing and shape, and then an extra hour to join the fortnightly Ask Kay Anything calls. Secondly, other than the cost of the program and the time you spent with Kay, you'll likely have what you need in your wardrobe to already make an impact. Any extra money you spend on clothes will be considered great investments, because not only will they be worn more frequently, but they'll be the right colour, the right size, and the right shape for you. Thirdly, again, as with time, a small amount of effort from your perspective is required, but again, the rewards far outweigh the effort. Now I spend a little longer taming my curly hair, but it does look much more professional and makes a massive difference. Kay really knows what she's talking about. In fact, I'm yet to hear anyone in the speaking community say anything other than give her huge praise for her styling work. She dressed me for my book launch, helped me choose outfits for the photo shoot, and she's told me how to style my hair, and I can't tell you how many compliments I have received since working with her. So for what my opinion is worth, focusing on style with purpose is more than worth it. Next up is episode 432, Get Comfortable with Chaos with Andrew Miller. Are you ready to embrace life's chaos? Andrew Miller, CEO of Business Enjoyment, transitioned from a logical insolvency practitioner to a purpose-driven business enjoyment coach. Through chaos theory, emotional alignment, and purpose-driven guidance, Andrew helps people navigate life's unpredictability with clarity and joy. Seeing how many people achieve financial success but still feel unfulfilled, Andrew's mission is to go beyond profit, alleviating stress and inspiring clients to find the extra thing that brings vibrancy to their careers. He redefines what it means to truly enjoy business and believes that to do that, first, you have to get comfortable with chaos. In chaotic times, your purpose becomes an anchor, grounding you when life feels uncertain and overwhelming. Chaos challenges your resilience, pushing you to confront unpredictability and reminding you how little control you truly have. Yet, within this unpredictability lies a unique opportunity. Embracing chaos rather than resisting it allows you to shift your focus from controlling every detail to understanding your deeper motivations and values. Purpose isn't just a goal, it's the steady force that fuels your strength and perseverance. It cuts through the noise, offering direction and clarity amid turbulence. With purpose guiding you, each obstacle transforms into a meaningful part of the journey rather than a mere setback. Chaos theory suggests that letting go of control can actually open doors to extraordinary possibilities. Life will always be a blend of chaos and order, but within that chaos lies a chance for profound purpose, growth, and joy. Where in your life can you embrace the chaos and let your purpose guide you through it? My reflection with action from this episode might be perceived as perhaps a little obscure. However, it really spoke to me in the moment and stood out as being something important to share here. It was Andrew's reasoning behind the choice of his business name. I'd asked him why he'd called it business enjoyment. He shared the etymology of the word enjoyment, being from the French enjoy, which is similar to how the word encourage means to give courage to, so enjoy actually means to give joy to someone else. So when he wrapped enjoyment with the concept of purpose and business, he said that you're here to help somebody else give joy to them within a business context. Amazing. I was so thrilled that I'd asked him, because sometimes what may be on the surface just a simple question, it often gives rise to a beautiful answer, and this was one such occasion. So let's focus on the etymology of the word purpose. First recorded in the 14th century, it comes from the Latin word proponere, where pro means forth and ponere means place or put. So together it gives you put forth, place forth, which is to propose or to intend. Purpose is therefore an intention or a proposal. It has a forward motion attached to it already, which is why I link purpose to the action element of reflection with action and the why to the reflection element. Purpose being the overarching intention that guides your direction in life, and your why being the emotional significance that you assign to your purpose. And it serves as your biggest intrinsic motivator. Your why, it provides you with the commitment and focus needed to achieve all intentions aligned with your purpose. So the why emerges from reflection, and purpose is created through subsequent action. Through the process of reflection, you gain clarity and valuable insights into your inner world, interpreting and uncovering the meaning of your experiences and understanding your next steps. Reflection helps you identify patterns, overcome limiting beliefs or behaviours, and explore biases, strengths, and areas for growth, all while helping align your actions with your values and aspirations. Continually reflect on your actions and adjust your course as needed to develop resilience and adaptability in the face of challenges. Intentional action is vital for achieving goals and living a fulfilling life. Your future success is therefore dependent on the actions you take after reflecting, as without action, your dreams will remain dreams. Without a defined understanding of meaning and purpose, you might find yourself merely reacting to events rather than recognizing how they each hold a meaningful significance that contributes to guiding your intentional actions and achieving fulfillment. When you couple reflection with action, that's when true growth occurs. This is why I have these solo episodes to show you what it looks like in reality. How, fueled by deep, purposeful reflection, your actions become a catalyst for positive change, igniting powerful ripple effects that extend far beyond your immediate influence to create lasting impact. Which is why I advocate a focus on developing your internal understanding of how to respond effectively through the practice of reflection with action, rather than searching for an external why. Next up is episode 433, Unpick the Happy with Tracy Irwin. Are you feeling stuck in your routine? Tracy shares her inspiring journey of moving to Spain to redefine her life's purpose. From successful business owner to happiness advocate, she opens up about embracing change, setting solid foundations for flexibility, and finding joy in helping others. Despite social anxiety, she remains committed to meaningful connections and is determined to leave a legacy of wisdom. Reflecting on pivotal moments which have taught her to balance discipline with joy, Tracy reveals how to live a fulfilled life and unpick the happy. I met Tracy at the 2024 Business Book Awards, held in Pearson, the publisher's gorgeous office on the Strand. I was there to support my great friend Charlotte Jones, who is my fellow book writing accountability buddy and my podcast guest from episode 351, as I encouraged her to enter her book, the brilliant book From Fatigue to Freedom, into the awards. Now, when I met Tracy, she would have been experiencing that social anxiety that she described that happens at these networking events, and yet I didn't observe any anxiety at all. We immediately struck up a lovely conversation, initially sharing our thoughts around the food that had been provided, and swiftly moving on to talking about the books that we'd both just written. In fact, she'd also entered her book in for an award. That set us off chatting for a good 30 minutes or so before we were ushered into the main room for the shortlist announcements. In fact, we got on so well that we promised to pick up our conversation again over a Zoom call, which we did, and then we subsequently recorded this episode. Despite the confinement of lockdown being so limiting, the pandemic actually provided me with a large degree of freedom. By using the wonderful medium of podcasting, I was able to virtually connect with people all over the world and was able to shine a light on their purpose. When speaking with my guests on this podcast, inevitably the conversations touch on the importance of freedom, as it did with Tracy. What's interesting is that the type of freedom each person seeks differs and is invariably linked to other elements. It's partnered with creativity, work, exploration, love, choice, flexibility, opportunity, acceptance, independence, kindness, time, and curiosity. And for Tracy, she spoke of how discipline and freedom are for her, in essence, inextricably linked. That responsibility, routine, discipline all allow her to have freedom and flexibility. Responsibility is a word that features in my book 33 times and freedom 29 times. I believe freedom and responsibility are essential components for achieving purpose and fulfillment as they complement one another. Freedom enables self-expression, encourages choice, innovation, creativity, and personal growth, allowing you to think differently and take risks. Responsibility ensures accountability for your actions and choices, guiding you to live with ethical and moral principles. Tracy also shared how she's on the brink of a new chapter in her way of life as she enters into a new decade. Right now, she said she doesn't have a very clear plan for what is coming next, but that's okay. She's focused on her next reset, and this experience feels very different from the total reset that she had been through 8 years ago. Do you find yourself caught up in the daily grind, rushing from one task to the next, managing endless to-do lists or juggling responsibilities? Over time, this relentless pace leaves you feeling drained, stuck, even disconnected from what truly matters. And if you've been feeling overwhelmed or lacking in motivation, it might be a sign that you too need a reset. A reset isn't just about taking a break. It's an intentional, purposeful pause to reflect, reevaluate, and recalibrate your life. It's a chance to step back and assess where you are versus where you want to be. It's an opportunity to challenge the status quo, see that your priorities have shifted, your goals have changed, or your values need realigning. A reset provides you with the clarity and space to identify what's no longer serving you and refocus on what truly brings you joy and fulfillment. Taking time to reset can reignite your passion, boost creativity, and restore energy. It allows you to clear mental clutter, let go of old habits, and make room for new opportunities. Whether it's a short break, a change in routine, or setting fresh intentions, a reset helps you to regain control and move forward with renewed purpose. So if you've been feeling like life is running you instead of the other way round, consider the need for a total reset. It might just be the fresh start you need to embrace change, find balance, and create that more purposeful way of life that feels truly aligned. My final reflection as a 49-year-old falls to episode 434, Wild Wisdom with Jen Le Marinel. Are you ready to reconnect with your inner wildness? Jen believes in the inherent strength of individuals and the calming power of nature. In this episode, you'll discover how embracing natural wisdom, understanding polyvagal theory, and aligning with seasonal cycles can redefine your modern life. Jen's belief is we're supposed to be out in nature, sharing that scientifically it calms our nervous system. Her passionate purpose is focused on how we can take that knowing, that wisdom, the wisdom of the cycle of the year, the wisdom of our nervous system, the wisdom of the wild, and how to bring our natural wildness into our everyday lives. Sharing her transformative journey from an unfulfilled corporate career to a fulfilling life of purpose, advocating for a deeper self-connection and reclamation of authentic values like courage and resilience, prepare to experience the magic of nature and find your own path to personal freedom and wild wisdom. Wild can take on many meanings. It often refers to things that are untamed or in their unnatural state, like forests, deserts, or creatures untouched by human influence. But it can also be described as a metaphor for something free-spirited, spontaneous, or intense, and describe emotions or experiences that are vivid and boundless. A wild person might be adventurous, unconventional, or break free from societal norms. But whether in landscapes, creatures, or human behaviour, wildness signifies raw, untamed beauty. The relationship between humans and nature is complex. While you may think of wild as something untouched by human hands, we're inseparable from the natural world. Your actions, lifestyle, and interactions with the environment inevitably impact it. Yet this doesn't diminish nature's wildness. It exists on a spectrum whether altered by you or not. Nature's cycles and resilience continue, reminding you of the enduring force of the natural world. In this sense, the wild is always with you. It's in everyday moments. The wild is both within and around you, constantly shaping and being shaped. By tuning yourself to these rhythms, you align with a deeper, more fulfilling sense of purpose. What's your definition of wild? For Jen, being wild means letting go of rigid plans and tuning into the present moment because nature's unpredictability encourages you to surrender control and discover purpose in life's natural flow. For me, I shared a definition of wild in the episode, which is anything that happens without human intervention. Otherwise, it becomes something that we've crafted, changed, altered from a natural state. I believe, yes, we're part of nature, part of the natural world. We can't be separated. Regardless of whether we have a human interaction or not, we're obviously changing the natural world in our very way of cohabiting alongside the world, just being here. But with all that said, knowing that trees and plants have all got their own plans that will happen all year round without me having any intervention with them at all. So I guess a refined definition of wild means anything outside your doorstep. Jen's episode since sparked off more reflection around the definition of wild and how she uses it as a call to reconnect with the natural world and its rhythms. That it's not just about untamed landscapes. It's about embracing spontaneity, authenticity, and living in harmony with nature. Living in sync with nature and its ever-changing seasons teaches you the value of cycles, growth, rest, and renewal. Just as the earth pauses and regenerates, you too need moments to reflect and recharge as these natural rhythms help you to reconnect with a deeper sense of self, reminding you that you are an integral part of a much larger world. Embracing the wild is about finding balance, about paying attention to the little things such as the freedom of birds soaring high up in the sky, feeling the wind whip against your face, or the earthy scent which rises as you trudge through the autumn leaves and muddy puddles in your wellies. By slowing down and tuning into what truly matters, you allow space for purpose to unfold naturally. Aligning with a natural flow opens up new possibilities and deeper clarity. Understanding your natural rhythms allows you to live in harmony with yourself and the world around you. It's not about transforming into someone new, but about unlocking that wild spirit that already exists within you. By reconnecting with this inner wild, you find greater meaning and fulfillment in life. You experience wild wisdom, and this brings me to my final reflection with action today. What exactly is wild wisdom? I believe wild wisdom refers to a form of intuitive, experiential, and nature-connected understanding that emerges from direct engagement with the natural world. It not only encompasses a deep sense of interconnectedness with the earth and its ecosystems, but it is combined with practical knowledge of how to live harmoniously within them. This wisdom can go beyond intellectual knowledge and touches on the emotional, spiritual, and instinctual dimensions of human experience. As wild wisdom is rooted in observing, understanding, and respecting the rhythms of the natural world, it involves attuning ourselves to the cycles of life, day and night, seasons, growth and decay, and finding our place within them. So naturally, one of the early questions I asked Jen was what happens in the areas of the world where there are no distinct seasons. While Jen shared that she didn't have her own lived example, she hazarded an educated guess based on the time that she'd spent with the indigenous people of the Kalahari. And after our recording, I immediately conducted a very brief internet search on the areas which experienced this lack of seasonal variation, and much of what Jen shared was evidenced. That while we have an intrinsic connection to cyclical patterns, living in areas without traditional seasons doesn't necessarily disrupt these rhythms. Instead, the focus is shifted to other cyclical aspects of life, such as daily light cycles, rainfall patterns, or cultural practices. We have an innate adaptability which allows us to find balance and structure, even in environments that diverge from the seasonally driven norms of temperate zones. It's so fascinating. However, let's return to that other question. What is wild wisdom? Unlike abstract knowledge, wild wisdom is learned through direct experience, such as tracking animals, foraging for food, or understanding weather patterns, or learning the medicinal properties of plants. It taps into our human ability to sense subtle changes in the environment, shifts in weather, animal behaviour, or the health of an ecosystem. And this intuition often complements scientific understanding, adding a layer of insight that comes from immersion and presence. Wild wisdom sees the world as an interconnected web of relationships. No, humans are not separate from nature, but an integral part of it, with responsibilities to maintain balance and reciprocity. Many traditional and indigenous cultures embody this knowing, this wild wisdom, as it is passed down through generations in the form of stories, rituals, and practices. This wisdom carries sustainable principles for living in harmony with the land and not dominating over or destroying it. In an era of climate change, ecological degradation, and widespread disconnection from nature, wild wisdom offers us valuable insights as it encourages sustainable living practices that work with natural systems rather than against them. It provides us with tools for mental health and well-being by reconnecting individuals with the grounding and healing power of nature. Wild wisdom, with its spiritual aspect, encourages awe and reverence for the natural world. Just as Jen shares, those who embrace wild wisdom report feeling a profound sense of belonging and purpose when immersed in nature. Challenging the dominant paradigm of human separation from and control over nature, instead, wild wisdom advocates for humility, respect, and reciprocity. Inspiring movements for environmental protection and regenerative living, wild wisdom emphasizes a need to honour the earth as a living entity. So hear this as my final reflection with action as a 49-year-old. The next time you hear from me, I will be 50, older, yes, a little wiser, maybe, especially if I succeed in encouraging you to adopt the practice of reflection with action, and especially if you understand what wild wisdom has to offer. I believe wild wisdom is the coach, mentor, and guide we've all been searching for. It is both ancient and timeless, bridging traditional ecological knowledge with contemporary efforts to live more meaningfully and sustainably on this planet. I believe the need for us to embrace wild wisdom comes with a great sense of urgency. What value have you gained from tuning in to Focus on Why today? What are your reflections with actions? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or via LinkedIn and share how Focus on Why has made a difference to you. Your feedback not only will inspire others, but will help them to discover how Focus on Why has created powerful ripple effects. Let's continue the conversation. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook or X, join the Focus on Why Facebook group, and sign up for my weekly newsletter, Friday Focus, to keep in touch. All the links are in the show notes. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why.